Discover the incredible story of Ham, shocking divine prophecies revealed in God's sacred plan. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the sun sank beneath the horizon on a land that was but a shadow of its former self. Water once roared in torrents, the flood cleansing the earth of its wickedness as Noah and his family emerged from the ark into a world reborn. The sky glinted with hope, yet the remnants of an ancient calamity whispered uncertainty. Ham, the son of Noah, blinked against the radiance of dawn, his heart heavy with the burdens of lineage and the weighty expectations laid before him. This morning held an unusual promise. The desolate soil stretched before him, ripe for sowing, and yet Ham was engulfed by ambition and fear, a conflation of respect for his father and the weight of a divine covenant. The air crackled with the reverberation of their new beginning as they stood on fertile ground, their calling to repopulate the earth thick with purpose. Still, echoes of mankind's failings lurking in shadows, a constant reminder of what had transpired. As twilight stretched its fingers across the sky, Ham's contemplation drew him closer to Noah's tent. The flickering firelight illuminated the shadows within, a sanctuary of contemplation and rest. As the curtain parted, he beheld his father, a man of remarkable faith now laid bare, vulnerable in sleep. In that instant, everything shifted. Ham was struck by the profound duality of this scene, the revered patriarch, a vessel of divine promise, stark in his nudity and dependence. A rush of conflicting emotions surged within him, wonder and shame woven together like a tapestry. Yet the weight of cultural expectations wrapped around him tighter than a noose. Rather than bringing the gentleness of a blanket, Ham's heart shifted. He felt a strange thrill at the thought of his father's nakedness becoming fodder for whispers. The air thickened with moral conflict, and instead of honoring Noah's dignity, he rushed to share the discovery with his brothers, each word imbued with an intoxicating allure, enticing them to gaze into the hidden. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. When Noah awakened to the reality of betrayal that rippled through the fabric of their new life, the atmosphere grew thunderous with judgment, a father's heart breaking at the betrayal of his son. The curse that fell upon Canaan served as a painful contrast to the initial blessings they had all anticipated. As the utterance of divine retribution echoed in the air, Ham stood at the edge of a precipice, grappling with guilt that intertwined with ambition. Who was he, the son of righteous Noah, to carry forth a legacy suffused with shame? In the wake of divine judgment, Ham was left to navigate a world saturated with his father's prophetic words and the foretold consequences. Could redemption ever blossom from the ashes of such sin? As the smoke from Noah's tent curled into the twilight sky, the mysteries of inheritance loomed larger than life. A path shrouded in turmoil, yet calling forth the promise of resilience. What would emerge in the unfolding of Ham's story? As dawn's light broke over the post-flood earth, Ham stood at a crossroads, heart in turmoil, eyes fixed on what lay ahead, an invitation imbued with God's sacred plan, amid the echoes of a past not so easily forgotten. In the days that followed, the weight of Ham's actions lingered like a fog over his soul. The sun climbed higher in the sky, illuminating the shadows that pursued him, yet he struggled to find solace. Canaan, a name now branded with shame, the bearer of a curse, hung heavy in his heart. As he wandered the margins of his father's encampment, the murmurs of despair gnawed at him like a ravenous beast. Noah, having recovered from the deep sorrow of betrayal, became a man renewed yet burdened with a greater understanding of both judgment and grace. Each dawn he arose to commune with the Almighty, seeking divine clarity amid the storm of his family's conflict. He offered sacrifices to the Lord, an act of obedience and a plea for mercy, guiding his lineage toward reconciliation with the Sovereign. One day, as he stood upon the hill overlooking the expanse of the earth, Noah sensed the weight of something yet to unfold. Heaven stirred as he began to prophesy, speaking forth words that would echo through the ages. "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be a servant of servants unto his brethren," he declared with somber authority, Genesis 9:26-27. As the sound of his voice faded into the ether, Ham's heart quaked with a foreboding unease. The weight of his father's words pierced through the veil of ambition as he realized that destiny was weaving a narrative far beyond his understanding. He could not escape the truth, the threads of shame now entangled with the lineage of his future. One evening, as the stars twinkled dimly against the canvas of night, Ham found himself away from the camp, seated upon a rock near the still waters of a sacred river. Here, beneath the celestial gaze, he wrestled with the remnants of guilt and the promise of restoration. The reflections danced upon the water's surface, beckoning him to confront the depths of his soul. "Am I forever marked by my father's grief?" he cried out, the words escaping his lips as the heavens remained silent. In that moment, the stillness enveloped him, and he sensed a divine presence drawing near. With a trembling heart, he whispered, "Lord, if my past does not define my future, reveal unto me your will." Lo! It was in the stillness that Ham perceived a muted stir amongst the reeds, a whisper of hope that quickened his spirit. The Lord was speaking not in thunder, but in truth. The world around him held the seed of redemption, and in the silent places of the heart, forgiveness awaited like the morning sun. As dawn's light caressed the earth with gentle grace, a profound realization settled upon him. God's hand was still at work, molding destinies from the ashes of despair. No longer did Ham view himself merely as the son of shame, but as a vessel of potential, albeit shadowed by the curse of his lineage. With newfound resolve, he rose from his place of reckoning, knowing he stood at the crossroads of legacy. "I shall seek to bring forth from my life a new creation," he vowed before the rising sun. "And though darkness has touched my lineage, I will strive to walk in a way that reflects my father's faith." Little did he know that the pathway of redemption would not only be forged through his own efforts, but would intertwine with the sovereign purposes of God, who had woven the tapestry of salvation through the ages. As Ham turned toward the camp, a whisper drifted through the air. Unbeknownst to him, a plan of divine redemption was about to unfold, promising to lead his people toward a destiny greater than the cycle of judgment. What would become of Ham and his descendants? The story, still yet untold, awaited the unfolding of God's majestic design, hinting that even Canaan's name might someday rise from the soil of humiliation to glory. As the sun broke upon the horizon, casting golden rays across the land, Ham continued his journey toward his family's encampment, a heart ignited with newfound determination. Yet, as he treaded the familiar path, a sense of urgency swept through him. His past lingered like the shadow of an ancient tree, heavy, yet now he sensed it could be pruned. Meanwhile, Noah, fervently praying in his tent, was visited by the Spirit of the Lord. It was a moment charged with divine anticipation. "My servant," the voice whispered softly yet firmly, "prepare your heart, for I shall unveil to you the fate not only of your sons, but of the nations that shall spring from them." Noah fell silent, awaiting the revelation. The weight of the covenant rested heavily upon his shoulders, the promise that his lineage would multiply upon the earth. As he bowed in submission, the words began to flow. "Shem shall be blessed, and through him shall the nations know my name. Ham's line will suffer the fate of servitude, but a remnant shall rise in testimony to redemption. Ham, now drawing near to the camp, heard his father's voice echoing like a distant thunder. "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem." The proclamation reverberated through him, igniting both dread and longing within his soul. Yet, among the somber declarations of his father's words, a flicker of hope remained suspended, a hope that echoed the promise spoken in secret, nudging him closer to the fulfillment of something greater. As he stepped into the camp, he was greeted by his brothers Shem and Japheth, who were engaged in a deep discussion. "Do not be disheartened, brother," Shem voiced with gentle authority. "The Lord has spoken of our paths, and he is just. Those who seek him find him." Ham, swallowed by the embrace of despair, replied, "But what of my name? What of Canaan, who bears the weight of darkness? Can my spirit not be freed from this curse?" His voice trembled as he shared his fears. Shem looked upon Ham, seeing not only the weight of shame, but also the flicker of divine possibility. "Fear not, for the Lord desires to weave a tapestry of grace through our vessels, even through yours, brother. My heart speaks hope in accordance with the Lord's purpose." As twilight fell upon the encampment, Noah emerged, having been cloaked in divine wisdom. He approached his sons with an urgency that ignited the air. "O sons, I have received words through the Lord. Our paths are set, yet the Lord has not forgotten mercy." Noah's voice, steady and resonant, declared, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be." Each word spoke of judgment, yet was cradled in the overarching theme of divine order and purpose. The tension surged as Ham listened intently, finding himself between despair and a desire for redemption. He knelt before his father, the weight of his lineage pressing heavy upon him. "Father, what hope is there for me? How does this curse nourish the soil of my lineage?" Noah, moved by the sincere cry of his son, reaching forth in compassion, spoke gently. "Ham, the Lord does not forget those who turn their hearts toward him. There is a remnant yet to be born, and through it the light will break as dawn upon the earth. Seek and you shall find, let not your heart be troubled." And so they stood together, the weight of divine prophecy resonating in their hearts with unexplored promise. For even in the shadows of judgment, the divine light was poised to prevail. Little did Ham know that from Canaan would arise not only servitude, but the birthplace of nations, a lineage bound to the covenant of mercy and deliverance. The plan of God, woven intricately through the fabric of time, awaited its season of fulfillment, declaring with certainty, "For the kingdom of a greater hope shall spring forth from even the smallest of its seeds." As darkness embraced the night, the stars flickered above like the promises made to the faithful. Noah, filled with a holy resolve, gathered his sons around him, their hearts heavy yet expectant. The air crackled with the tension of the moment. The weight of two destinies hung before them, mingling with divine anticipation. "Brothers," Shem spoke, his voice steady like the oak, "let us seek the Lord's will amidst our trials. Our Father has imparted the weighty words of the Most High, yet I feel that within this righteous path lies a whisper of mercy." Ham, still wrestling with the words of his father, replied, "But what is this mercy woven in the threads of a curse? Canaan will bear the stigma of servitude, and lo, shall the nations scorn him." His gaze fell to the ground, the inner turmoil churning. Japheth, noticing his brother's distress, placed a firm hand upon Ham's shoulder. "Fear not, dear brother, for light can break forth even within the shadows. The Lord is the author of redemption. Even amid judgment, he charts a course towards salvation." Their father Noah interjected with a voice like thunder and gentleness combined. "You speak truth, Japheth. The path ahead will require faith, for as it is written in the annals of our forefathers, The just shall live by faith, Habakkuk 2:4. It is through faith that we embrace our calling. As visions danced in Noah's mind, he felt a divine tugging at his spirit, urging him to speak further. There is more, my sons. For from Ham's lineage will emerge a multitude. They shall be a testimony to the world. Though veiled in darkness, the light of redemption will pierce through Canaan. The brothers exchanged glances, filled with wonder and trepidation. Ham's heart quickened, echoing with the question, "How shall this be? For my seed is cursed, tarnished by the design of man's iniquity." "Ah," Noah exhaled, the weight of a prophet's burden pressing down upon him. "Does not the Lord's promise come to fruition through weakness? For he uses the lowly and the despised to bring forth glory. Consider the lineage of David, who emerged from the most unlikely of lines." Ruth 4:17. As the depth of these words settled upon them, a sense of peace began to flicker like a candle within Ham's heart. Could it be that even in captivity there lies a destiny far grander than he could fathom? Then the Lord spoke, luminous and resplendent, as the skies opened, revealing a glimpse of the divine design. "Ham, you shall not be forsaken. Though Canaan will labor under the weight of servitude, from his loins shall rise a remnant of great renown. A nation shall emerge that knows both suffering and triumph, where the broken shall find healing." In that moment, the veil of despair began to lift, and Ham felt an unshakable assurance welling within him. He knelt once more before his father, the tears of repentance glistening upon his cheeks. "Father, forgive my doubts. I will seek the Lord with all my heart, for I yearn to behold the fulfillment of his promise." The atmosphere shifted, charged with a holy expectancy, as Noah raised his hands and prayed for his sons. "O Lord of hosts, grant my sons the vision to see the tapestry of your plan. As the dawn breaks upon the earth, let them witness the beauty hidden in what may seem like folly." As their voices mingled in prayer, a profound light flickered within their midst, echoing the promise of the ages. "For from the lineage of the despised and rejected, the Almighty shall birth forth a nation of priests and kings." Ham's heart throbbed with renewed purpose, for he understood in part the sovereign unfolding of God's grand design. Yet a whisper still lingered in the air, echoing the questions deep within his soul. Would his lineage truly rise from such a seed? And how would the world come to know the true fulfillment of God's promise, revealing a destiny yet unseen? While the stars held their vigil, Noah's heart brimmed with the weight of prophetic truths. With the dawn yet to break and the world in need of healing, he sensed the moment for revelation was at hand. "Come close, my sons," Noah beckoned, his voice a gentle rumble, "for greater mysteries yet await our understanding. The earth has trembled and the waters have rolled back, yet even in this rebirth the hand of God remains at work." His sons, eager and expectant, leaned in closer, their breaths mingling with the cool evening air. "Ham," Noah continued, "yours is a path that defies reason. From Canaan's descendants will come those who are fierce in spirit, yet humbled by their trials. The nations shall rise and fall, and from the ruin shall spring forth a resolute people. For I have seen them in my visions, as a phoenix from the ashes, bold and unyielding." Ham, though burdened, felt the flicker of hope ignite anew within him. "Father, how shall this come to pass? What strength can arise from a lineage marked by shame?" "Know this, my son," Noah replied, his eyes glistening with holy fervor. "The Lord is not confined by man's understanding. When a people is oppressed, they shall seek their God. From that suffering shall arise the cry for justice, and from that justice shall flow a mighty river of healing and renewal." Shem pondered deeply, his contemplative nature seeking clarity. "So it is not merely in bloodlines, Father, but in the hearts of those who seek the Lord. The paths of our fates are intertwined with the desires of the Almighty." "Yes," Noah affirmed, the fire in his spirit rising. For there will be a time when the scepter of providence shall rest upon these lands. A King of kings shall arise, drawing forth those who look upon the promise. The very foundation of nations shall be laid upon the stone that the builders rejected. The thought of a future king sent ripples of astonishment through the brothers. Japheth spoke with eagerness. You hint at a future our minds cannot yet grasp. Will he not be mighty to save? Will he not heal the divisions that even now looms over the earth? Noah nodded solemnly, his expression indicating how deep the truths reached. Though he may come in humility, do not mistake his appearance for weakness. The glory of the Lord shall dwell among them, and they shall proclaim the name above all names. Nations will bend their knee, and all creation will rejoice at his coming. With each word, the brothers felt the resonance of divine purpose encircle them. Ham clasped his hands, and though there were still doubts in his heart, the reassurance of his father's words acted as a balm. Covering their heads in prayer, they sought the Lord's face, each voice harmonizing in a melody of longing and surrender. Their hearts united in supplication, they prayed for clarity, for vision, for an unwavering faith to walk the path set before them, no matter how shadowed it might seem. Then in the stillness, as anticipation lingered thick like incense, a voice unraveled from the heavens once more. For behold, I am making all things new. The seed of Canaan shall spring forth, and a multitude shall be gathered unto me. His rejoicing will echo throughout the ages. Noah gazed into the horizon, awareness dawning like the new day, and he proclaimed boldly, Watch, my sons, for though clouds may cast shadows now, the day of revelation draws near. The promise shall not falter, nor the seed of the faithful be diminished. Prepare your hearts for extraordinary works. With hearts ignited and mighty truths hanging in the air, the brothers embraced the weight of their calling, although they knew not yet the full measure of its depth and breadth. For in the heart of their destiny lay the genesis of a world marked by conflict, yet yearning for peace, a story that awaited to be unveiled. How would the tapestry of their lives be woven into the greater design? Would they remain steadfast amidst the trials to come? For the path ahead was shrouded in mystery, yet God's sovereign plan was beckoning from beyond the veil. And it came to pass that as Noah's voice hung in the air, the dawn broke, casting golden rays across the earth, illuminating the remnants of a world reborn. The land, still moist with the testimony of the flood, began to stir under the weight of new life. Noah, looking out upon the vast expanse, felt the urgency of the moment press upon his heart. "Rise," he commanded with renewed vigor, "that we may offer thanks unto the Lord for his mercy, which has sustained us." His sons complied, gathering stones, and they erected an altar, a sacred place whereupon they could lay their offerings of gratitude. As the smoke ascended, Noah lifted his voice in prayer, acknowledging the faithfulness of God. "Lord Almighty," he cried, "you who have delivered us from destruction, may our lives be a testimony unto your grace. May your promises unfold before our eyes as the sun rises each day." And as they worshipped, a profound stillness enveloped them, and the very air seemed to shimmer with divine presence. Noah stood with eyes lifted, awaiting a revelation. The earth grew quiet, as if the creatures of the land understood the significance of the moment. Then behold, the voice of the Lord spoke again, a whisper weaving through the air. "I establish my covenant with you, Noah, and with your descendants after you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, and there shall never again be a flood to destroy the earth." Genesis 9:11. Trembling in reverence, Noah listened. "O Lord, you have promised. Your words bind like an eternal covenant, unbroken and full of hope. To you and to your sons," the voice continued, "shall I bestow the earth anew. And when the time comes, the signs shall be upon you. I shall set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Genesis 9:13. The brothers exchanged glances of awe, feeling the gravity of their father's role within this narrative of redemption. Ham, filled with both wonder and apprehension, felt the call upon his life stir anew. "Father, shall the seed of Canaan bear witness to the honor of this promise? Shall we not falter, but rather rise to meet what has been foretold?" Noah turned his gaze upon Ham, and there rested a maternal strength alongside paternal guidance. "Indeed, my son, for in every difficulty shall be the carving of faith. The path you tread may be laden with burdens, yet therein lies an unveiling of grace. The promise is for you and for all who walk after you. Hold fast to these truths." As they finished their offerings, an inexplicable sense of anticipation filled the air. The brothers felt their history intersect with God's unfolding purpose, a greater tapestry woven with threads of lineage and legacy. And the Lord, observing their unity, whispered into their hearts, "From you shall arise nations, from you shall come the great ones. To the least and the meek many shall be delivered." The heart of the Father beats in each generation, calling forth his own. Much time passed in contemplation, and laughter soon echoed through the valley as they turned from solemnity to joy, sharing mundane stories of the past, binding themselves closer to the promise of tomorrow. Yet the day, filled with light and laughter, held its mysteries, for Ham could not escape the tug upon his spirit. Though his heart danced with joy, the shadows of a future veiled in complexity loomed over him. As day turned to dusk, Noah called them together, once more under the twilight sky that danced with burgeoning stars. "Take heed, my beloved sons, for the world still waits in anguish. The cry of the generation shall beckon. My heart has seen, and your paths shall not be free from strife. But remember this, he who holds the stars holds you close." Noah's gaze pierced the night, and he declared, "Prepare yourselves, for the time comes when the heavens shall declare his glory, and the earth shall tremble at the manifestation of the promise. You will yet understand the full measure of what lies ahead. For the seed of promise struggles through dark tunnels to find its light. And thus the seeds of hope were sown, though the fullness of understanding lay wrapped in the mystery of a sovereign plan, awaiting to unfold at the divine appointed hour. And it came to pass that as the stars twinkled overhead, Noah turned his heart toward his sons and spoke with the weight of wisdom bestowed upon him by the Almighty. "Hear me, beloved ones," he began, his voice resonating with the authority of a prophet. "The grace of God is upon us, and yet shadows linger on the horizon." Shem, his eldest, leaned closer, concern etched upon his brow. "What shadows do you see, father?" he inquired, his voice steady yet filled with reverence. "The world was purged," Noah replied, gazing upon the expanse of land. "Yet the hearts of men still hold the propensity to stray. The covenant is set, but remember this, my sons, the hearts of the flesh are prone to wickedness." Genesis 8:21. As dawn approached, the air grew heavy with a sacred weight. "In time you shall be stewards of the earth." With stewardship comes responsibility. The legacy you build will echo through the ages. Japheth, his youngest, now stirred with hope. "Then shall we forge a future where righteousness reigns, and the echoes of your voice remain with us." Noah nodded, pride swelling within him. "Yes, my son, but with every choice the consequence shall follow. There will rise among you divisions that tempt the heart. Yet I pray you shall uphold the virtues instilled within you, for what is right must be sought above all else." As the morning light spilled over the horizon, the Lord spoke again, his voice a balm to their souls. "Noah, behold, I shall establish my covenant with you and your seed after you, and there shall be a time in the generations to come when the hearts of your sons will be tested." Noah trembled, for he understood the sacred trust placed in him. "O Lord, guide us through tribulations, for I fear the choices of men." "Fear not, for I shall not leave nor forsake my people. The path shall be winding, and the hearts of men will wander, yet from your seed shall emerge a remnant that will uphold my ways, the Lord assured, the promise infused with divine hope. Those who seek me shall find their strength renewed as the morning sun. A mighty nation shall rise, yet shadows shall linger where faith is weak. As they prepared to part from that sacred place, Noah gazed at his sons with dimensions of love, intertwined with a caution that came from knowledge of what was to unfold. "You, Ham," he said gently, "your role shall be profound, but a great struggle lies within you. The lure of the world will seek to eclipse the truths you may come to know." Ham shifted uneasily, the weight of this prophecy settling upon his heart. "Is my heart undone, Father? Will I be a vessel for good or ill?" Noah placed his hand upon Ham's shoulder. "All men face their trials, my beloved, but you must seek the counsel of the Lord always. His path is never deserted, for he walks with those who earnestly seek him." With that, Ham felt the stirrings of purpose amidst his turmoil. He turned his gaze toward the horizon, sensing the unease of greater matters at play, the waves of affliction circling the destiny of not just his life, but that of generations yet unborn. As the sun climbed higher, casting light over everything, Noah lifted his hands to the heavens, and the brothers joined in, united in prayer. Even as they sought God's favor, an unspoken tension filled the air. "Though storms may come, and the darkness may seem overwhelming, do not be dissuaded," Noah implored. "Keep steadfast in faith, for in your fight there is a victory set before you that can only be revealed through obedience to him." Then came a stillness, and in that stillness was born a lingering question: what trials awaited them, and how would faith emerge victorious from the hands of doubt? And as they felt the weight of God's gracious call, the echo of divine destiny began to unfold in their hearts, for hidden within each of them too was a story woven by God's sovereign design, waiting to be discovered. Yet the journey was far from over. Within the shadows lay the groundwork for a revelation yet unknown, as a future they could not fathom awaited just beyond their line of sight. And it came to pass that Noah, his heart full of trepidation yet brimming with hope, gathered his sons once more as the sun illuminated the world anew. The air was thick with a sense of purpose, the weight of the covenant seeming to vibrate in the very earth beneath their feet. "Let us walk together, my sons," Noah urged, leading them into the verdant fields that proclaimed the restoration of creation. "As we step forth into this promised land, shadows shall not overcome the light, if we hold firm in our faith." The brothers followed, their hearts full of questions, yet eager to hear their father's wisdom. Japheth, ever inquisitive, turned to Noah. "Father, what shall we do, and how shall we build our lives in adherence to the covenant?" "Live righteously, sons," Noah replied, "and honor the commands of the Lord, for the world is filled with temptation, and a test awaits each of you. Treasure the words of the Lord in your hearts, and you shall find life." Within their midst, Ham felt the stirrings of doubt dance like shadows, creeping around the edges of his consciousness. "And what if my heart falters, Father? What if the darkness overtakes me?" His voice quivered, an echo of the prophecy weighing heavily upon him. Noah paused, turning to face Ham with deep affection. "Fear arises from uncertainty, my son, but steadfastness in the Lord brings clarity. Remember, you are not alone. The Almighty watches over you, ready to strengthen the weary and uplift the humble." Shem, sensing the struggle of his brother, spoke with conviction. "Together we will face the trials ahead. Brothers, hold strong amidst the turmoil, for the strength of one supports the other." As they traversed the fields, they marveled at the flourishing life springing forth from the earth, the willows dancing with the wind, the flowers blooming in vibrant hues. Yet deeper within, an unseen battle raged, shaping their destinies according to the divine design unbeknownst to them. That evening, as twilight draped the field in soft shades, the Lord descended through the gentle rustling of leaves, his voice echoing within the hearts of the men. Behold, I am with you always. I call forth the righteous and look upon the hearts of men. Those who linger in shadows shall find their path illuminated by my presence. Noah knelt upon the sacred ground, his sons following suit, their hearts drawn together in earnest supplication. O Lord, he cried out, grant us discernment as we navigate the valleys of trial, protect Ham, and instill him with courage to resist the call of the adversary. The winds stilled, the silence more profound than a whisper, and in that sacred space a revelation unfolded before the brothers. A vision saturated with the presence of God materialized, revealing chambers of their future. There, Ham beheld himself standing at a crossroad, where choices lay woven with the threads of righteousness and folly. "Fear not the choices laid before you, Ham," the voice of the Lord assured him gently but powerfully. "For I have called you by name, and you shall rise up as a vessel of purpose should you seek my face." The moment departed, leaving them with a lingering awe of divine mystery. Ham, filled with trepidation yet emboldened by the promise, whispered, "I will seek you, Lord." As the stars began to twinkle overhead, a new dawn of understanding crowned their spirits. "What shall become of us, Father?" Japheth implored, his eyes shimmering with wonder and the weight of unknowing. Noah looked upon his sons, his heart swelling with a mixture of love and apprehension. "What lies ahead is shadowed in uncertainty, but rest assured in this truth. A remnant shall arise, forged in the fire of perseverance. Each of you will play your part, and from you a nation of faith shall spring forth, for I shall fulfill my promises." And as the night embraced them, a deepened resolve stirred within their souls, each carrying the weight of divine prophecy intertwined with their own legacy. The echoes of their choices would one day ring across the ages, carrying forth a narrative crafted by God's sovereign hand. Thus, unknowingly, they stepped into the unfolding vastness of God's plan, awaited by the trials of future generations, their destinies intricately woven together in a tapestry of divine glory. The questions echoed unfurling like the dawn. What trials would forge their faith? What darkness would they face? For within the shadows a revelation awaited, one that would reveal the depth of God's unfathomable love and ultimate redemption. And it came to pass on the morrow that Noah awakened, with the dawn's light illuminating the horizon. His heart was burdened with the weight of the world's restoration, yet buoyed by the faithfulness of the Lord. He called to his sons, "Rise and prepare your hearts. The Lord has work for us today." The brothers gathered, their faces reflecting a mixture of resolve and uncertainty. Japheth clutched the hand of his father. "What shall we undertake, Father?" he asked, his voice steady yet filled with expectation. "We shall lay the foundations of life anew," Noah replied, "and cultivate the land that the Lord has graciously provided. We must also proclaim his covenant to all whom we meet, for it is not just for us, but for future generations." Then, with hands joined in prayer, they asked for guidance and strength. Noah led them, beseeching the Lord, "O God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, grant us insight as we embark upon this sacred task. Let your Spirit dwell among us, that we might walk in the light of your commandments." As they began their toil amidst the fertile soil, they toiled with fervent hearts. Shem, wielding a plough, turned the earth, while Ham planted seeds of promise, and Japheth began to construct an altar from stones he had gathered. Each act was a manifestation of faith, echoing the Creator's command to be fruitful and multiply. But even in their labor, the tension of uncertainty lingered in Ham's heart. The vision from the night prior haunted him, a sentinel whispering of paths yet to be chosen. As each seed was sown, He found himself grappling with shadows that danced at the edge of his resolve. "Brothers," he confessed one late afternoon as they gathered under the shade of a mighty tree, "the darkness calls to me at times. I feel the weight of my choices pressing down upon me." His eyes were wide with vulnerability, reflecting the deep conflict within. "Fear not, dear brother," Shem urged, placing a hand on Ham's shoulder. "We are but vessels of his purpose. The Lord's voice will guide us through every storm and shadow. Trust in him, for you are not alone." Japheth added, "Remember the covenant, Ham. It is a promise of protection from the tyranny of darkness. Do not give heed to the doubts which seek to ensnare you." In that moment a rustling breeze enveloped them, and the stillness that followed seemed alive with divine energy. From the heavens above, a voice spoke unto them, the same that had carried its promise to Noah. "O faithful ones, heed my words. You are chosen instruments in the tapestry of my creation." Noah, understanding the weight of this moment, knelt down, calling forth a blessing over his sons. "May the Lord's peace be upon you, and may wisdom pour forth like rain upon the fields of your hearts." Suddenly a celestial light broke overhead, illuminating their surroundings, and in that light Ham experienced a surge of clarity. "I will choose faith," he declared boldly, feeling the chains of doubt begin to break. "I will walk in the paths of righteousness." Days turned into weeks as they labored to cultivate both the land and their spirits. As they worked, their bond deepened, their faith intertwined with the whispers of the past and the promise of future generations. Yet, unknown to them, a new chapter in the grand narrative of the Lord was waiting to unfold, one that would test further their resolve and faith. For even as they thrived, beyond the horizon stalked a darkness, waiting to ensnare the unsteady. And thus the question lingered in the air, heavy yet hopeful. What trials would arise as they sought to uphold the covenant amidst a world yearning for change? Each laboring day prepared them for a revelation that awaited, speaking of choice, faith, and the great unfolding of God's sovereign plan. And it came to pass that as the seasons turned, the fruit of Ham's labors began to emerge from the earth, a splendid testament to God's faithfulness. The once desolate land now flourished under the devoted stewardship of Noah and his sons. They toiled side by side, their laughter ringing through the valleys as the seeds of life sprung forth, affirming their dedication to the divine promise. Noah, drawing ever closer to his sons, cherished not only the harvest, but the bond that strengthened them collectively. He gathered them often, sharing stories of God's marvelous works, for he understood that the impartation of faith was crucial in shaping their destinies. "My beloved sons," Noah would say, his voice rich with affection, "remember the covenant of the Most High. It is a light unto our path and a shield against the shadows." Shem, forever vigilant, fostered wisdom within his heart. He often turned to Ham, whose journey had been marked by conflict and resolution. "Brother," he would say, "the Lord does not dwell where there is doubt. When the shadows seek to overwhelm, call upon the light. Our Father's words are swords against the darkness." Ham, bolstered by his brother's conviction, began to share his own struggles with clarity. "Dear Shem, I am learning that in seeking the Lord, the shadows of my past grow faint. He transforms my grief into gratitude. I feel a calling upon my life, a destiny to uphold the awesome truths of our lineage." As the days of harvest stretched on, and the air grew thick with the fragrance of ripening grain, Noah sensed a shift in the atmosphere. He felt the weight of something stirring, a divine awakening on the cusp of revelation. One golden afternoon, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, he gathered his sons once more. "Come, my children," he beckoned, "for I have received words from the Lord." With hearts aflame, the brothers encircled their father. "The air is heavy with anticipation, Father," murmured Japheth, eyes sparkling with eagerness to receive the divine oracle. "Indeed," Noah replied, his gaze penetrating and warm. "The Lord spoke to me, saying, I shall surely bless them who seek my face, and from your lineage shall spring forth a multitude chosen to declare my glory. The heart of Canaan's story shall rise from the dust of despair into the heights of exaltation." A silence enveloped them, rich with divine promise. Ham, his spirit ignited by the words, voiced a prayer from deep within. "O Lord, let me be a vessel through whom your grace flows. I long to fulfill the purpose seen beyond the veil of my forefathers' curse." The very earth trembled at Ham's declaration, and in that moment the winds shifted, carrying whispers of hope through the branches that bowed low overhead. Suddenly, the Lord's voice rang forth anew, "Behold, though Canaan will have trials and tribulations, a remnant shall rise from him that will know me, and they will proclaim my name." With each prophecy, a tapestry unfolded, shimmering with divine order. The brothers felt the interweaving of their lives and futures sparkling before them, crafting stories that would bear witness to generations yet to come. Encouraged, Ham continued, "We will honor our earthly father, and through faith let us bind forth a lineage that sings praises unto you, Lord. Let the burdens of our past turn into footsteps toward redemption." And so they prayed together, voices becoming one as they knelt in reverence. Their father's hands rested upon their heads, imparting a blessing meant to echo throughout time. "May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob lead you forth with strength and wisdom. You are the torchbearers of hope amid the world's despair." As Noah spoke, the heavens opened, and a radiant light cascaded upon the brothers, illuminating the promise set forth by their Maker. It reflected in their eyes, a future born anew. Feeling the warmth of the divine embrace, Ham's heart leaped with life. He understood that though darkness had once cloaked his lineage, the dawn of redemption had arrived. Weeks followed, and the work continued, a reflection of both their love for each other and their unwavering commitment to the divine plan. Yet even as fruitfulness blossomed in their labor, a challenge approached, a storm of sin festering in the hearts of men. It loomed like thunderclouds on the horizon, threatening to eclipse the radiant future the Lord had ordained. As whispers of temptation encroached upon the camp, the brothers remained steadfast, aware that the trials would serve to refine them, carving their story anew. Knowing that the path of faith was seldom straightforward, they stood united, each day a step forward in fidelity to their calling. And finally, the moment came. A divine encounter lay before them, fast approaching like the roar of thunder, heralding the ultimate sovereign intervention. In the sacred hours leading up to the unfolding, Ham felt the earnest surge of faith within him. "Lord," he prayed, "may I rise as a beacon amid the tumult, and may our family shine as a testament to your greatness." As they continued to cultivate the rich soil, Ham sensed his destiny would not just be revealed in the promise bestowed upon Canaan, but would indeed flourish through every act of faith. The shadows would not darken their spirits, but would instead evolve into milestones, tracing the rich heritage towards ultimate redemption. Day by day, word spread in the land. Nations would gather, bearing witness to the unfolding of God's sovereign plan, despite the trials that awaited. The echoes of faith resounded in every heart that sought truth. Thus, the brothers labored on, steadfast in their purpose, champions of hope amid encroaching darkness, carriers of the divine promise, summoned forth from the remnants of despair into a narrative greater than themselves, shining as vessels of God's endless grace. Seek, share, and spread this message with unwavering urgency. Follow this divine journey of faith. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word, for the stories that transcend time await you. Like this message to further illuminate the path, and comment below how this incredible journey speaks to your soul. And don't wait even one more second. Share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends. God's truth is meant for all, and in unity we shall rise to declare His glory.